James Melendez. This wine is next. This is Champagne Charles Heidsieck Blanc de Blanc non-vintage. Stay tuned and I'll tell you about this beautiful wine. So beauty in the glass, beauty in the bottle. I think it's a fantastic producer. I have reviewed the Rosé and the Brut. I'll place those videos right up here for you to view. A very, I think, some really great attention to detail here on this producer and what they export to markets like the United States. Lucky to get these bottles. I think they're fantastic and just filled with finesse and beauty. So I love the format here. It's a very slender, smaller neck from this height point, as well as a very slender body right here, giving to a much fuller body in the bottle here. And I think it's just a really nice, beautiful, elegant packaging overall. Let me show you the label up close. Champagne Charles Heidsieck, and here's a back label for you to look at. There's some dates here that are important, and so one of them is the date that is laid in chalk, 2013, and disgorged in 2016. Essential because I think a lot of people don't get that information on a non-vintage wine. So if you have non-vintage champagnes, because maybe you want to have them stored up for celebratory reasons, you still might want to know when, it was disgorged. You still want to know when, how old is that wine really? And I think it's a nice way of knowing that. More producers are doing that today, and I think that is essential to taste the best wines in their prime. And so if you see those in your cellar, you can turn them, bottle around and see when that disgorgement took place and know what you want to serve and what you don't want to serve, or you want to hold back for a little bit. That's the beauty of, I think, that particular dating system. So this producer, I think they do produce some beautiful wines, getting some really optimum fruit. Blanc de Blanc is truly my favorite style. This is a Brut style wine, meaning that's 10 grams of sugar per liter. And so this to me is really a nice marriage of tasting these wines. In terms of, I definitely appreciate the Rosé wines. I definitely appreciate the Brut wines. So if I could only have one particular style, it would be Blanc de Blanc, hands down. So Chardonnay is the champion here. And of course it is, in the other wines as well. But it's, obviously the workhorse, but it's not just the workhorse. It's, that's the wrong term. It would be much more of that finessing capability wine grape that does quite a bit. And, it also doesn't get a lot of respect. Depends where you are in the world. I definitely respect Chardonnay and its ability to create moving wines. Now the wines are coming, 75% of this, 3/4, is from the year 2012. It's only, 25% shy of being a vintage wine. But that is not the intent of this producer to do that. It's to produce the best Blanc de Blanc non-vintage wine possible. But I think that's a really great attention to detail. So 25% of this is reserve wines with an average age of 5 years. Now the composition on this wine is majority of the crus are coming from the Côte Blanc, Auger, and Vertou. Also completed by Villers-Mamery, Chapailly, Vendémiaire, as well as Montgu, aging for 4 years on lees. I think that's music to my ears, because when I hear that, I know that that's going to be a superbly well constructed, well thought out, a wine of finesse, basically. And I think it's just completely elegant and gorgeous and graceful. And I can't say enough positive words about this because there's something to enjoy. I think this is best served with food, right? I mean, if you want to have, I'm a caviar person. I love caviar. I deal with caviar, but not everybody likes caviar. Totally get that, but you can enjoy this with a variety of foods. Maybe as your entree dish and you're having fish. I think it's a completely elegant selection. It's a nice wine to start off with your cheese course to begin with, or maybe your cheese course as you finish your meal. I think it's a nice way to do it in 3 different ways and to think about that wine. But before you do, taste your wine. What does this 100% Chardonnay wine taste like from Champagne? So there's a way to enjoy this wine, but in order to do so, try just a bit before you're tasting your food, just a little bit. And I think it's going to go a long way to express that wine, to make it enjoyable for that experience and make it something that's so not just enjoyable, but memorable. I think that's the point of well-made champagne, such as Champagne Charles Heidsieck Blanc de Blanc. So here we go first. Enjoy this in a nice tulip-shaped glass because it's really designed to enjoy for the experience of the nose as well as the effervescence. So you get 2 points out of this. Never taste out of a flute, because I think the experience is going to be diminished just slightly, as opposed to this where I think you're going to enjoy it completely, fully. So this is a beautiful pale straw coloration to this wine. So in this wine here, notes of passion fruit, golden kiwi, oyster shell, brioche, and freshly roasted pine nut. And next, the palate characterization. Just such an exquisite, easy to enjoy wine. And I know that probably is too elemental for this one. No, on the palate notes, just a nice sense of finesse. Elegance on the texture of this wine. So wonderful creamy mouthfeel to this. So the notes on this are a rich pear note, passion fruit, flowers, freshly roasted and out of the shell pine nut, which I used to do as a child. That's how I think of this particular notation. Gives that evocation in this glass here, as well as oyster shell for that salinity, as well as that mineral notation. Completely elegant, beautiful, 95 points out of 100 points. More reviews to come in 2020, and thank you for watching this year. I hope you treat yourself to a beautiful wine like this. This is, I definitely advocate enjoying one glass of wine per week, and that could be champagne or whatever you really enjoy. But for me, I think if I could have a glass every single day of champagne, I probably would, kind of like Winston Churchill did in his lifetime. So being that this is a $96 price point wine, I think this is nice to enjoy with food, share, of course. And so maybe it's your New Year's Eve bottle of wine to open up, or maybe it's just that really wonderful winter meal that you're going to share with somebody that you really want to enjoy a fine wine and fine meal with. So this is to be enjoyed. Again, 95 points out of 100 points. So let's stay connected. You'll find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and WordPress, as well as my podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Enjoy some beautiful luminous champagne, especially in this year 2020. So thank you again for watching. I will see you in the next video. Santé.